Imagine taking a human from 50,000 years ago, giving them a comfortable chair, unlimited food, a glowing screen, and a life where they barely need to move. At first, it might look like paradise, but after a few weeks, their body could start sending signals that something was wrong. Because the human body was built in a world without offices, without cars, without electric light, without food available every hour of the day. For almost all of human history, staying alive meant moving, walking long distances, carrying things, climbing, searching for food, avoiding danger. Then, in what amounts to an instant on an evolutionary timescale, the world changed. Our bodies didn't. And that may explain why so many parts of modern life feel strangely difficult. Because your body isn't broken. It may simply be running ancient programs inside a world those programs never encountered. First, consider something almost everyone does for hours every day: sitting. Right now, you may be sitting while watching this, and your body is probably completely still. But humans did not evolve to spend most of the day motionless. That doesn't mean our ancestors were constantly running. They also rested, sometimes for long periods, but their lives required regular movement: walking to find food, carrying children, gathering plants, building shelters. Modern life removed much of that movement. You can wake up, walk a few steps to your car, sit during the journey, sit at work, then sit again at home. Your body may travel through an entire day without doing much physical work at all. And here's the strange part. We now pay money to imitate what used to happen naturally. We drive to a gym, then walk on a machine, before driving home. That would have made no sense to our ancestors. But movement is not just something the body tolerates. It is part of how many of its systems function. Modern sedentary life is so different from ancestral conditions that researchers describe it as an evolutionary mismatch. Our environment changed far faster than human biology could adapt. But movement is only one ancient need modern life has transformed. The next one is much harder to resist: food. Imagine finding a tree covered in ripe fruit. For an early human, that could mean a rare chance to collect valuable energy. Sweet foods contained calories. Calories helped people survive. So our brains developed powerful motivations to seek them. That system worked when food was unpredictable. But today, energy-rich food can be everywhere: at work, at gas stations, in vending machines, delivered directly to your door. You don't need to search for calories anymore. Calories search for you. And the brain still reacts strongly to foods that once would have been difficult to find. This doesn't mean humans are designed to overeat. Our behavior is shaped by many things: biology, culture, habits, stress, sleep, and the food environment. But the basic conflict is real. A system shaped by scarcity now operates inside abundance. And there is another ancient system modern life keeps activating: stress. Imagine an early human hearing something move in the grass. Their body reacts instantly. The heart beats faster. Breathing changes, muscles prepare for action. For a moment, the body becomes ready to run, fight, or escape. Then the danger ends. But modern threats are often different: an unpaid bill, a difficult message, a deadline, a conflict, a stream of alarming news. None of these can be escaped by running. Yet the body may still respond with heightened arousal. And the problem is not stress itself. Stress is essential. It helps us focus and respond to challenges. The problem is when the system stays activated too often or for too long. Your body may prepare for action while you remain sitting in front of a screen. But now the story becomes even stranger, because one of the most important signals controlling your body is something you barely notice: light. For most of human history, daylight meant activity. Darkness meant night. Our internal clocks evolved around that repeating pattern. But today, you can spend the morning indoors, work under artificial light, then stare at a bright screen long after sunset. Your eyes see light. Your brain receives information about time. And those signals help regulate circadian rhythms, sleep, alertness, and other biological processes. Artificial light at night can interfere with natural light-dark cues and affect the sleep-wake cycle. In a large recent review, higher exposure to artificial light at night was associated with a greater risk of sleep disturbance. Although most of the underlying studies were observational, so the result does not prove that light alone caused those problems. And then there are our eyes. For most of human history, people spent much of the day looking across landscapes, at trees, animals, other people. the horizon. Now millions of people spend hours focusing on objects close to their faces. Phones, tablets, laptops. Screens do not automatically destroy your eyesight, but prolonged close work can cause eye strain, and people often blink less while using digital devices. For children, time outdoors appears especially important. A 2024 study following nearly 3,000 children found that certain patterns of outdoor exposure were associated with less myopic shift. Think about how strange that is. For millions of years, human eyes developed in open environments. Now many children spend more time looking at glowing rectangles than at the sky. But perhaps the biggest mismatch is not physical. It is social. Your brain evolved in groups where most people were familiar. You knew who trusted you, who disliked you, who had status, who needed help. Today, you can open an app and see hundreds of people within minutes. Their faces, their achievements, their opinions, their arguments, their vacations, their carefully selected best moments. Our social brains are constantly receiving information from people we may never meet. And modern platforms can repeatedly engage ancient tendencies: social comparison, attention to status, fear of exclusion, sensitivity to threat. That does not mean social media is simply unnatural or that it harms everyone in the same way. Its effects depend on how it is used, who is using it, and what they experience online. But researchers have proposed that some problems associated with social media can be understood through evolutionary mismatch. Ancient social mechanisms operating inside an environment that is larger, faster, and more persistent than anything humans previously experienced. And here is the twist. Maybe the human body was never meant for modern life. But that doesn't mean modern life is a mistake. The same technologies that create new mismatches also give us medicine, safety, communication, knowledge, longer lives. The goal is not to return to caves. It is to understand what our bodies still expect: movement, daylight, sleep, real social connection, periods without constant stimulation. Because your body is not outdated, it is incredibly adaptable. It can survive deserts, mountains, frozen landscapes, and cities filled with millions of people. But adaptation has limits, and sometimes the signals we call modern problems are ancient systems reacting to a new environment. Your hunger is not a flaw. Your stress response is not a mistake. Your need for movement is not an inconvenience. Your internal clock is not broken. These systems helped humans survive, but they were shaped for a world that disappeared. So the next time you spend 8 hours sitting, eat when you aren't hungry, scroll late into the night, or feel exhausted despite doing almost nothing physical, remember this: you are living in the newest world humans have ever created, inside a body built by an ancient one. And perhaps the most surprising thing is not that our bodies struggle with modern life. It is that they have adapted to it as well as they have.